Hi everyone, I'm Anna Cogdill. I am doing this webinar for my capstone at Valdosta State University. I currently work at the Henry County Library System. I'm the young adult coordinator. I did want to mention I'm still kind of new in the young adult field. My experience consists of being in the library for 3 years, the public library, and 2 years of that has been with the young adult department. Right. This webinar, I hope to have the question, how do young adult librarians and public libraries adapt to profound civil unrest and a global pandemic and still meet the needs of our young adult communities? I think it goes without question that 2020 was quite the unpredictable year. I hope this webinar kind of points out some possibilities and points to possible solutions on what our future looks like. I hope to continue the conversation on what will public librarianship look like for young adult librarians after a year like 2020. Some webinar takeaways is there seems to be a universal need to reevaluate what we as YA librarians offer to our young adults and how we offer it. We need to be mindful to adequately reflect our current society and our teens. To do that, we must look at our collections, our programming that offers safe spaces and creative alternatives throughout the year, but specifically SRP 2021, because it will be again a new year and may look totally different considering last year and years past. I hope to begin the conversation with this webinar to provide possible post-COVID outlooks and what collecting data will look like, and that we may need a new service model, and the hope that we can stay connected. All right, so let's start. One of the main things I love about YA so much is our collections, and being diverse and keeping our collections diverse is nothing new per se. It's especially in the public libraries, we pride ourselves on remaining diverse and keeping things as wide of a field as possible for our teens and for our patrons in general. Nicole Cook states library collections are where we can make the most significant contributions to diversity. And I absolutely 100% agree with that. I can tell right away when patrons come in and they see our new collections, and it literally draws them in. We always hear about windows and mirrors, and knowing that our collections and our things need to reflect our society and offer them windows so they can view and glimpse others, as well as mirrors view and glimpse themselves. Let's see. Kauai mentions that there are opportunities for windows to authenticate perspectives and shared experiences, and we can use these as learning tools to honor culture and make pro-social choices. Love that. And also when we purchase these materials, I don't know if you have capability to directly purchase. I know my library, we have a collections development team that they ask us for input, and we certainly work together in building the collection. That way we work together in promoting the collection. And it really works out. We have discovered, those tough topics, those social injustice stories that are absolutely needed, they're getting more and more popular as far as vendors and publishers providing those as things to purchase for our young adults. And it's really great. It's really great to be able to offer these titles and topics that haven't always been out there in the amounts, I should say, in the amounts that they are today. And hopefully they will keep growing. All right, let's see. And I did want to mention these beautiful covers. Most of these, actually all of these, have just recently been purchased by my library, if not already, and they are stunning. Although the July and the Taking of Jake Livingston, I should say, is going to be coming out this summer. So one of the things I did want to say was actively engage your YA, your young adults, with a current young adult collection, and it will speak for itself I promise you. All right. Moving on. Yes, one of the things I love about the collection and our collection, specifically in YA, is it literally does speak for itself. Like I said, these two pictures on the left are actual pictures from my library at Henry County Library System in the McDonough branch. This is how I advertise. In my opinion, it works. I have never had as many teens coming in as I do right now. And the new book section, which is the picture in the middle on the right, it is an instant eye drawer. People come right over to it. I even have adults come over to it to see, and it's constantly needing to be replenished. It's a great problem to have. Don't forget that, you know, putting out your nonfiction books, your manga, your graphic novels, even the older books in the collection, out-facing books are recommended. It looks more basic to a bookstore, as we all have been talking about. But it does work for sure in my library. Other ways that I promote the collection is through flyers and inserts. Some of these flyers, well, I've created all of these through Canva. Canva is super easy. It's user-friendly, it's free. You can purchase a subscription to it, but these were made with the free option. And I've created these specifically for summer. For this summer reading 2021. And every week we're doing a different location, different time in history, and using that to promote our Take and Make kits. So anyway, the flyers here are obviously diverse covers, diverse stories, diverse authors. You can do that specifically like with the Latinx authors, or you can just do that in general. And it is recommended to continue to do that. Just keep promoting those book titles and diverse stories. Let's see. All right. So another thing I wanted to talk about what hopefully will, you know, be changing and what it could look like for YA is our programming. I will be completely honest. I was virtually scared. Virtual anything was quite scary. April 2019 or 2020. Sorry. It was the advanced as far as I got with virtual anything was like Excel spreadsheet and PowerPoint. So anything video related like this right here, I would not have been able to do a year ago had COVID not happened. So anyway, I was one of those virtually scared, but it does help. It helps to hear from other librarians in the field that are going through this with me, and they're sharing their stories, thank goodness, of what's worked for them and what hasn't worked for them, what other things we could talk about as far as what are also possibilities. You know, YouTube story time, my library has done crafting videos we've done, and using platforms like that to reach our audience. Those are some success stories. There's also, you know, mention of virtual meditation classes, conversation clubs. I'm excited that this summer my library will be doing a Spanish conversation club for our teens, and it's something completely new. I'm excited to see how it goes. There's also major discussion on Dungeons and Dragons. Like, we have some major fans out there. I did not know it was that big. But again, I've only been in YA for 2 years, so I'm still learning. But makerspaces is another question that we've not really addressed as far as like my library. We're not really sure on how to make that an option for take and makes. So that's something I'm still learning about. But what are some things that you can do in the off season if you're closed curbside? My library was closed for quite some time. We have recently opened back up for 30-minute sessions, walkthrough service only. But some things that we are continuing to do is take and make kits. These kind of look, they all vary. I'm trying to move my thing. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the one on the left is what is your message in a bottle kit? And this was basically close to voting time. And it was a kit that you can make your own little bottle, vial. It was either sand or liquid, or you could put paper rolled up scroll in there with a printout of the covers or it was the titles of books that were either voting related or had topics that were of high school, going for the clubs in schools, like novels about that, I should say. The other kit is the campfire kit. We did promoting our Lumberjane series. This was really popular. I would say anything with food and teens is a win-win. So this is make your own s'mores kit. This was fun. This also was right around the time we purchased a bunch of Lumberjanes book covers. So there is that. Some safe spaces that I have read about online are Twitch, Discord, Google Meets, Zoom, Roll20, WebEx, Slack. I will tell you, this all still sounds a little scary to me because I have not used all of these. But from what I can tell is people in the field are saying, if you are interested in offering a virtual program, download these things, practice them at home, like use them in your own private devices, get familiar with them. And if you're comfortable with them, then offer a program on them. But there are videos out there, there are success stories out there that I'm noticing using these things. Most of them are all free. I think WebEx you may have to pay for, but most of these are free and they are used often. I did want to mention social media because that feels like a no-brainer. We're all using social media, or at least trying to. But I will say Facebook is not where our teens are at. So just be aware if you are putting data out there or trying to interact with our teens. It's been proven that Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, those are going to be your platforms for YA. Good luck. I'm excited to start Instagram at our library this summer. That's the first one we're doing, but there are other rookies with me out there. So we're all trying to figure this out as we go. All right, so summer reading. What is that going to look like this summer? Well, for my library, we're doing a hybrid model. We are doing a combination of take and make kits and in-house programming. I will tell you, for the teens, everything has been catered to be take and make and to do at home. We are trying to do, a lunch program where they could come in, eat if we can. It's still being considered, so I'm not real sure. But being creative with programming is 100% where we're at as far as all librarians, I feel anyway. But one of the things we're going to start this summer is drive-in movie night. We're not sure exactly how this is going to work, but I'm excited to give it a try. Also, the open mic nights outside. We are fortunate to have an FM AM transmitter radio station, or radio transmitter that plays through your car radio, like through the stations. And we have used this on story times with children's so far, and it's been successful. I mean, it hasn't been hugely popular, but it is a way to connect with our patrons, thinking outside that box and being creative. Another interesting way to approach SRP this summer is partnering with outside individuals or companies or other community events. One of the things we're doing is partnering with our Parks and Recreation and offering a program. There's going to be story time in our parks and a scavenger hunt at the parks that's led with our children's specialists. But I have also heard of teen programs with offering exercise programs. But if you are virtual only, this is what it could look like for you. Consisting of take and make kits, to go lunch programs, mini programs, which I think is interesting. Social media has ways you can have book chats, book recommendations. Instagram Live does this a lot, I have noticed. But providing that just a bite-sized information in a virtual platform is great. If you can do that and you can be quick about it, then that's even better. But providing an outlet such as Scratch, which is, if you're not familiar with Scratch, you can go to this website. It is offered through MIT. It's a coding website, and they will teach you how to code. It's really catered for kids. I have worked with kids as young as first grade, being able to do this. I do like it, but just being able to provide a coding outlet, this is something you can offer. But one thing I really found really interesting was there are free virtual tours of museums and castles going on. Like, whoa, this picture right here is Bran Castle, and this is the supposed inspiration behind Dracula, which I think is fascinating. But like the British Museum is offering free tours, free virtual tours. But other Versailles, other museums are offering too, which I think is incredible. But also partnering with virtual performers. I know some colleges will offer different science museums, different science programs and STEM programs. If you're interested in that, just look into what's local. I know there are counseling, like counselors available, and some I was reading about some programs that people are offering for their teens and their children, being able to connect with a counselor. There are also things for recreational purposes, like offering yoga and meditation classes. Let's see. So one of the things that is of a concern, I think, for all librarians is how are we going to measure our data for this year and the upcoming years? Like, it kind of begs to be questioned, like we're going to need a new service model. Like, that just seems obvious. How are we going to collect data? What is that going to look like? Are take and make hits considered like interacting? Like, how are we going to be able to prove our data? Like, what are we doing? It's absolutely needed though. Like, we absolutely need feedback, and we just need to be able to know how we're going to do that. I think for sure it's going to have to be a little different. I mean, our participation, physical participation as from our patrons is going to be different. Our physical participation with our patrons is going to look different too. But it's definitely interesting how this is going to change and how things are going to, be calculated later on, because we need that for stakeholder information for sure. But we also need that because we as librarians are growing, we are developing, and we are adjusting almost on a daily basis. It feels like things are constantly changing, which isn't unheard of in the library field, but it's definitely seems to be at a faster rate here lately. But some of the other predictions that that people in our field are predicting is the increase in hotspots. This is so true for us. We have purchased 66 when we started out with 0. So this is definitely true for us. Hybrid programming, phone and online references, definitely making use of that. Continued heavy social media interaction. I feel like social media isn't going away, especially for our teens. So being able to use it and get our feet wet with it and interact and be successful with that, kudos. I think that's amazing if you can do that. And keep trying. Like, even if you fail the first time or can't figure it out, try it again, because you never know. Like, I'm doing Instagram this summer and I've never done it before, so I'm learning the ropes. We can learn them together. But stronger partnerships with your Board of Ed, I think that's absolutely necessary. But continue making connections with each of us as we all learn, as we all communicate and grow in this together. There's definitely a bright side, and why not learn as we go and encourage one another? So for sure, if you would like to continue to contribute to the conversation that we've started today, here are some outlets you can look for. I'm always learning every day, something new all the time. But for sure, I hope you've learned something new today. My email is attached. If you would like to email me or have questions, definitely let me know. Thanks.